Hello, it's Sonia here with A Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today we are going to be doing another quick project. We are going to be making a cute little bow that you could use as a hair accessory or to decorate a piece of clothing, a hat, an ear warmer, a whole bunch of different things. I had a lot of fun making the flower one, so I thought, why don't we make a bow? Because I actually love bows. I think bows are so cute. And if I wasn't 52 years old, I would still be wearing a bow in my hair. Maybe I still will. I don't know. All right, so this project, you can really make your bow any size that you would like. So I'm using my F hook or 3.75 millimeter hook, and then I just have a little bit of yarn here. This is either like a decate weight yarn or like a sport weight, and it's a very light pink. And I just went through a lot of my yarn and tried to organize it a little bit better. So I actually have a bin of just little scraps like this. So I've been trying to figure out what to do with them. So the flower project that I made last week, I will place a link for that. Is a great project to use up scraps of yarn, and this one is as well. So I'm going to show you how to make just a regular bow and then one that has the dangly parts on the end as well. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to decide how wide you want your bow. So I don't want mine too wide. I mean, you can make a really big one if you wanted, but I just want a smaller one because I'm going to turn this into a hair clip, and this is the clip I'm using. I used the same one last week. It's a pin curl clip. I really like these because they really have a nice grip. I do have another barrette. You could use something like this as well to make your little bow if you prefer these. These don't always work well in finer hair. We are a finer hair family here. We just have very fine, straight hair, slippery hair. So these kind of hair clips, because what I'll do is I'm going to wrap yarn around it. It's not going to provide a really good grip for staying power. Like you can see that pops off right away. And also if you have a lot of hair, like this might not provide the grip that you're looking for. But you might like this if you're concerned about it pulling on your hair, because once the yarn's wrapped around, it will provide a little bit of a cushion. So you know your hair best as to what type of clip works best in your hair, or if you're making it for a child, you probably know the child's hair. I really like these because, as I said, these grip really good. They're not, like I'm giving it a little bit of a pull and it takes a little bit to get it off. So they work really well. I just, the one I made last week, I gave it to my little niece who's 5 years old now. Mind you, she has hair like an adult. I will post a picture of her wearing this hair clip, and half of her hair is in a bun and the other half is down her back. So that just shows how much hair this 5-year-old has. I'm super jealous. She has absolutely stunning hair, but it clipped right in her hair, and she had it in the entire day. It was for her birthday party, and she was running around playing, and that clip stayed in really good for in her hair. All right, so what you want to do for your bow is you want to determine how wide do you want your bow. So I don't want mine really wide. You could have a really, bigger one if you wanted to, but I just have a little bit of yarn here, so I'm not going to make it that wide. And also we're going to make it with the dangly part on the bottom. You don't have to add that if you don't want to. It's up to you. All right, so let's make a chain for however wide you want your bow. So I think that's about good. I made 7 chains, so you can definitely use a different hook size if you want, heavier yarn. This project is completely customizable. All right, so I worked 7 chains. So my first row is going to be a single crochet row. I'm going to work in the back bump of my chain, in that second bump from my hook, and I'm going to work single crochet. So let's begin row 2. Row 2 we're going to half double crochet, but we are going to do a linked half double crochet, and that just provides a little bit of a cleaner edge. So what you do is you're going to chain 2. In that second chain from your hook, you're going to insert your hook and pull up a loop. So we have 2 loops on our hook. So now I'm going to go in that very first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. So now we have our 3 loops like we do for regular half double crochet, yarn over, and I'm pulling through all 3. So that eliminates that chain 1 or chain 2 and gives you a nice clean edge, and we're going to continue just to half double crochet across. Now if you don't like that, you could certainly do it the regular way, or you could actually make this, you know, single crochet every row, but I kind of like the way it looks with alternating the single crochet and the half double crochet. So I have 6 stitches here at the end of my row, and so now for row 3 I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and I'm just going to single crochet across, working 6 single crochet because that's what we started with in the beginning. So whatever number you started with, so let's say you chain 10, you would have 9 single crochet and 9 half double crochet. Okay, so then row 4 we're going to repeat that linked half double crochet row, so chaining 2. In that second chain from my hook, I'm going to insert my hook, pull up a loop. Now I'm going to go into that first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and then just continue to half double crochet across. So what you're going to do is you're going to repeat rows 2 and 3. So it's going to be single crochet, half double crochet row for however long you need. Okay, so here we go. I ended up working 21 rows, and I ended on a row 3, which would be a single crochet row. So how I determined how many rows I needed, so here's my hair clip. So how we're going to turn this into a bow is you're going to fold it. So I just folded it like that, and then I held it up to my clip, and that helped me decide how many rows I needed. So with this, you're going to decide what side do you like better. Do you want this to be the right side, or do you want this to be the right side? So I've already made one, had this be the right side, so I'm going to have this side be the right side. Doesn't really matter, it's just whatever you like better. So I'm going to fold it like that. So I have my right sides touching, and I'm going to chain 1, and I'm slip stitching in that first stitch and in the ends of that first row. So this is my last row I just did, and that is my first row. That's why we worked on the back bump, because it looks almost the same like that. All right, and we're just going to slip stitch them together. And I slip stitched it together, and then I want to turn it right side out. This side is going to be my right side. So if you wanted to just have it like this, what you're going to do next is, so I like to try to limit how many ends I need to weave in, so I'm going to give myself a really giant long tail. Now we are going to make one that has the other part, but I don't want to have that on this hair clip here. So I'm showing you a couple different ways to make the bow. So I'm giving myself a good long tail, and I'm going to cut my yarn. So then what we're going to do is you're going to have, this is your seam, you want that in the center. You're going to take that long tail and you're just going to wrap it around your bow. Now you can decide if you want it to be more like this or like that when you're wrapping. Actually, I think I want it Let's just start wrapping and we'll see how we want to do it. I think I want it like that. And you just wrap and wrap and wrap. Now if you're going to have the dangly part, you're going to want to wait to do this part. But we are going to make a couple different little bows here so you can decide what method you like the best. You could also use a different color to wrap that around as well. So I'm going to go off camera and wrap that. So you just want to have it, you know, tight enough. So what you want to do, I'm just holding it with my thumb there. You do want to anchor it. So I have my yarn needle ready to go and I'm going to thread the bottom. And I left myself a long tail because then I'm going to use this tail to sew it onto my clip. Because I like to sew it. You could glue it on, but I just prefer sewing. I think it just gives it a little bit more stability. It anchors it a lot better. Okay, so now I've got my yarn needle, so I'm going to thread it underneath. I'm just going to go in and out of here, and what I'll also do is I'll thread the needle in the actual part of the bow, and that will help to secure it a little better as well. Alright, so here is my little bow. I still have my long tail. I just cleaned it up a little bit. So now I want to attach it to my hair clip. So I thought I would show you how I do that. So as you can see, I have a little piece of paper here. You're probably wondering what on earth is that for? And looking at this clip, there's a little hole, and I like these clips because I like to thread a needle through the hole. So here is my yarn needle that I was using. So as you can see, it doesn't fit. So we need to use a smaller needle. So here's the one that I'm going to use. So obviously it's going to be really difficult to thread this yarn through that small hole there on that needle. So this is a little trick that I learned a couple years ago. So I have this piece of paper and then I fold it over the end, and maybe you already know this trick. And you want to make sure the paper is not wider than that hole. So then I pick up my needle and I just, sometimes you have to, depending on the thickness of the yarn, you really kind of flatten it out. And just wiggle it through. And there we go. We are threaded. So now I'm going to sew this onto the end of, on top of this clip here. So usually when I do this, I like to poke it through here because it really secures it to the clip. So then I know it's not going anywhere. So I kind of also eyeball it how I want it to be on the back here. So then I will, so I have it through the hole, then I'll take it and sew it through the bow. Then I'll usually go back through the hole again. And as you can see, through the bow. And then what I also like to do, so you can see there's another hole there, so I like to put it through that one as well. Then what I like to do to really make it sure it's nice and secure is I will sew it on to this part of the clip here. So then I kind of just get weave my yarn where I want it to be. So now I'm ready to go. So I'll take it and I actually will weave it in those prongs. So I go through to the other side, then I thread it on, weave it into the actual project. And I just like doing this because, you know, probably a little girl's gonna wear this. And, you know, like I said, some toddlers have hair like an adult. So then I take it on the other side and weave it on the other side. And then thread it through. You know, and in case a little one would get a hold of this, and, you know, little ones love to put things in their mouth, this thing isn't coming off. They're not going to be able to choke on it. I have some littles still in my family, and so I just like to be mindful of that kind of stuff. And I'll also kind of like pull at it to see, you know, how secure we're looking, but there it is. So now I'm going to show you how to do the bow with the dangly part, and I've already worked on my bow for that. So it's the same directions as the little pink one, and I made this one a little bit bigger. I still use the F hook or 3.75 millimeter hook, and this is Ice Yarns. It's like a DK weight yarn. I don't know which one it is, but I chained 13 and I have 12 stitches across, and I ended up doing 29 rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut this yarn. The other one we had left the tail so we could wind it around, but we need to make that dangly part. So I'm cutting that. So I just finished slip stitching across. I'm going to turn it right side out. So this is the size of the bow that it's going to be, but we need to make the other part first. So what you want to do is, I have my yarn here, is you're going to make a chain, and you're going to think about how, you know, long you want it to be. So I'm just going to start chaining. It doesn't matter how many chains you make. So here we go. I ended up working 36 chains. So what you want to do is, I work 36 chains, but you might have a different number. So I like to do a little preview, so I scrunch down my bow a little bit, and I just lay it like that, just to kind of give me an idea about how long these parts are going to hang. You could certainly make them longer, but I don't want it too long, so I think that's good enough. So again, I have 36 chains. You know, you might have a different number, especially depending on what type of yarn you're using and size hook that you have. So like I said, you can make your bow as big or small as you like. All right, so we're going to work row 1. So row 1, we're going to work in that back bump, and we're just going to single crochet in that second bump from our hook, and continue to single crochet all the way across. Okay, so here we go. There is my row 1. So what I like to do is, I like to have it where it kind of has those little points on the end, so we're going to do that. I just think it looks pretty. You could just chain 1 and turn and just work, you know, straight, but I like to have that. So we are going to do that. So to do that, I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. I'm going to single crochet in my first stitch. And what we're going to do is we're going to skip the next single crochet and single crochet in the next. So we are doing a decrease by skipping. I don't always like to do that because it does show, but this one, it looks fine. So what you're going to do is you're going to continue to single crochet all the way across until you get to your last 2 stitches. And you're going to skip that second to your last stitch and single crochet in the last, because you want the other end to look the same as this one. Alright, I have 2 stitches left, so I'm going to skip that next one and then single crochet in that last stitch. So what you want to do is you're going to single crochet across, so chain 1, turn your work. You're just going to work even 1 stitch in each, and then continue to repeat rows 2 and 3 until you feel like you're I don't know what it's called, the other part of your bow, the dangling part, is wide enough. So so what's gonna happen is you're going to see it, you know, create those little points on the end. So I'm going to work a few more rows. All right, so there you go. You can see I worked 9 rows, and now you can see those points on the end. So what you're gonna do when you think it's wide enough is you're going to cut your yarn. And now we're going to get ready to attach this to this. So first, what I like to do is I'm just going to weave in those ends. Okay, we've got our ends woven in. So here is our project. So let's finish this up. So what you're going to do is you're going to wrap the yarn around again, but you're also going to be wrapping it around your dangling part, your drape. Is it a drape? Whatever it is. The other part of the bow, the long part of the bow. So it's going to go like that. So I'm going to get my yarn ready. So we got this part, and then you just start wrapping it as many times as you want. I'm going to do that off camera because I'm going to have to, like, I kind of pull this down a little bit and just kind of adjust it here and there to get it how I want. So here you go. Here is our cute little bow with the part that hangs down. And I made another one here, right here. And you can see I attached it to a hair tie. And I think I'll do that with this one as well. I think I'm going to give these as Easter gifts to my little nieces. I think they'll really like them. So to attach it to the hair tie, as you can see, I left these ends. I didn't weave them in yet. So what we're going to do is there's the hair tie. I've got my yarn. And we are going to attach our yarn to the hair tie. Chain 1 and single crochet around the hair tie. And I like to single crochet around the end a little bit just to kind of anchor it on there. And you just work as many as you need. Okay, so you can see I stitched around. I'm going to leave an end for sewing here. Find my scissors. I just had them, but I have 2 pairs of scissors going on here. I have these ones and the white ones, and you know, I couldn't find either of them. All right, so now we are going to attach our bow to our rubber band, thread it through. And then just go in the bow and attach onto the hair tie. And I usually like to kind of do it like so it's like almost like an inch across, just so that it's really secure in there, because this is a little big and this is a little small. So I will finish that up off camera. So here's the one I already did, so you can see that how I stitched that across there. So we're going to do one more bow. I have this, I'm going through that bin of yarn that just has little bits of scraps like this and using that up. So it's basically going to be the same, but you're going to instead make your chain, and again I'm still using my F hook. You're going to make a long chain. Okay, so I made a long chain. I have 37 chains. So what you're going to do is, instead of determining how wide you want your bow that way, you're going to determine how long you want it by making the longer chain like that. So it's going to be about that wide. And I think for this one I'm going to attach it to this hair clip actually, and we'll see how that goes. I have quite a few nieces, so there's plenty of heads for these to go around. I do have girls too, but they are a little old. They're not old, but they're not into the hair bows. So these will be very nice for my nieces. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to do the same directions as the other one for when we worked this one here. You're going to work as many until your bow is wide enough. So it's going to be the single crochet row and then the half double crochet row. So I'm going to work a few rows here and then I will meet you back. Okay, so here's my bow. I added another color and I didn't like how big it was. So originally I had, I think, 36 chains. I actually shortened it to 29. So I actually like this size better. And then I ended up working 7 rows and I think that's going to be wide enough for me. So what you need to do then is, again, determine what side you like better, this side or this side as your right side. And I didn't cut the yellow yet because I'm going to use that to wind around the center. But anyway, what you're going to do is whatever side you like better. So I'm going to use this as the right side. You want the right sides touching. And then you're just going to slip stitch across those ends. So I only have a little bit of this blue left, really using up those scraps of yarn. And it does not matter how many slip stitch you have. Okay, that is it. So this is all I have left. And then we'll turn it right side out so you can see. And I'm going to take the yellow here. Maybe I'll even use the blue too, I don't know. And you will wind it around to make the center, and then I'm going to get that barrette and I'm going to stitch the bow onto the barrette. So here we go with the finished one. I think it's super cute. I really like doing both colors there, and then you can see I sewed that on. I think that one's precious, and then I finished this guy. This one is very precious too, and we have the one with the dangling, which is really sweet, and this one as well. Now with acrylic yarn, you want these to be, you know, laying more flat. So this one, what I ended up doing is I did steam it with my iron gently, and I even sprayed a little bit of sizing or like light starch. So I mixed it with some water first, then I steamed it out, sprayed it with a little bit of the starch, and it did seem to help it a little bit. So I'm going to do that with this guy because this is also acrylic yarn, and hopefully we can get it to, I mean, it's not too bad to lay a little bit more flat. But I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.